Well, Quebec has a new premier. 33rd premier in Quebec's history is Christine Frechette. So of course, she was elected leader of the CAQ over the weekend. What do the opposition parties want to see from this quote-unquote new and improved government? Let's find out and also take a look at some of the latest polls, which show good news for our next guest. Eric Duhaime is leader of the Quebec Conservative Party, and he's on the line. Monsieur Duhaime, Eric, welcome back.
Always a pleasure.
So, what are your demands here? We got a new premier. What should she be doing right now?
Well, the first thing is to cut tax on gas. She said during her campaign that her priority was the cost of living of Quebecers, make sure we have more money in our wallets for the average family. We saw what happened in Ottawa over the last few hours. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister, decided to cut the federal tax on gas of 10 cents in a few days. That would give a break to everyone, and I welcomed it. And I'm very happy that the Liberals in Ottawa did that. Now the CAQ in Quebec City should do the same. We're not there to listen to huge speeches about her vision. Anyway, there's going to be an election in a few weeks, and she's not going to be in government for very long. So she needs to do something concrete ASAP.
Oh, you're really excited. You just upgraded a few months to few weeks because you're so excited for the next election. I love that.
Well, not just that, but the Parliament is only going to sit for 5 years. 5 weeks, sorry. Normally it's 5 years. Now it's going to be 5 weeks. So It gives you an idea that she didn't have a huge mandate.
Eric, we'll get you a calendar so we can get those years and months and weeks settled down,
much,
but it's okay. Okay, but let me ask you this, because I wonder if it's a double-edged sword for you. But we've seen this federally. Pierre Poilievre hits the government hard on certain things, and then Mark Carney takes those ideas and said, look what I'm doing, like on the gas tax, right?
Yeah.
So isn't there a risk actually for you if Christine Frechette takes your idea about cutting this tax and that people will say, okay, I don't need to vote for Eric Duhaime, the CAQ's going to do it?
There's two answers to your question. First off, you know me well. I've been in politics for a long time. I decided to lead a party that was at 1% in the polls when I took over the leadership. I'm there because I want the ideas, the conservative ideas and values to be promoted in Quebec. And we're not there just to win the election. At the end of the day, the real win is when your ideas are moving forward. That's the politically correct answer. And the second one is regarding voters, I trust them. At the end of the day, I think that many voters are going to prefer the original to the copy. And I think that it also shows that our ideas are not that stupid. They were laughing at our idea when we came out 4 years ago about tax cuts on and about cutting the tax on gas. And today they're seriously thinking about doing it. So first off, they were saying that we were stupid. Now they're thinking it's not that stupid, and tomorrow they might apply it and decide that it's the way to go. So for us, it shows that the conservatives are on track and are there where Quebecers want us to be.
Okay, I want to talk about this Palace data poll, L'Actualité, and PJ Fournier's latest poll that shows you in first place with 34% of the vote now in the Quebec City region, not for Quebec as a whole. In the Quebec City region, you're number one. I'm scratching my head a bit because aren't you the guy that wants, the number one employer, I imagine, in the Quebec City region is the government, and you want to slash government jobs. What do you think explains that you're doing so well in the Quebec City region?
And just to add on the poll, we're leading by 10%, which is a huge gap. We never had such a gap in our history, in our recent history. Well, what explains it and why in Quebec City, even if we want to cut 20,000 bureaucrats, is because here in Quebec City, people, they see it firsthand. They're close to it. It's their neighbor. It's their brother-in-law. They see the waste in government, maybe more than elsewhere in Quebec. So that might explain. And it's not just for the Quebec Conservatives. It's true in our history. It's true federally. If you look at the federal government, the only conservative MPs almost that we have are in the Quebec City region. If you look at historically where the ADQ stronghold was, it was in Quebec City. If you look at where the CAQ started, it was in Quebec City. So there's conservative roots in the region here that there's not elsewhere. And regarding the poll also, I want to underline another thing. What we saw in the polls over the last 2-3 years is the CAQ losing voters to the Parti Québécois. And we saw the PQ take a huge lead 3 years ago. And now we're seeing that people are dissatisfied of the Parti Québécois. The closer to the election we are, the closer to a potential referendum we are. And Quebecers do not want a referendum. So they're thinking, okay, the CAQ is done. We don't want to vote for them. We were betrayed by them. So we went to the PQ. We parked there for a little while, but we don't want a referendum. And now they're looking for who are we going to vote for. In Montreal region, we see that those voters are going to the Liberal Party. That's why you saw an increase of the Liberal support lately.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Quebec City region and in other regions, in Francophone regions, voters are going towards the Conservative Party. And today I'm telling the non-Francophones and the Montrealers that I think they should also consider the Conservative Party like we're doing in Quebec City right now.
What do you think? What goes through your mind when you see the poll come out and who's in first place? It's the Liberal Party once again. What goes through your mind?
Well, it's disappointing, of course, because we saw all those scandals and those ethical issues, and we're wondering how come Quebecers are still trusting that brand. We don't even know the guy who's leading it now, who's new, who's unknown for many, and especially among the non-Francophone. And that's where he got his strongest support. It's surprising. I mean, we're wondering why, but at the end of the day, what I understand is that they know the Liberal Party, and it's the old party that has been there forever. So it's your old loafers that they're finished, they're scrapped, they're not that comfy anymore, but you know them, and that's what I think is going on right now.
We've seen the shine rub off of Paul St. Pierre Plamondon and the PQ. Obviously, this is a more difficult poll for them. They've gone down of late. Perhaps they peaked too early, but some would say, hey, he's out there in the media. He's talking a lot. The more he talks, the lower they go in the polls.
Yes.
Do you believe that, is that what you're waiting for Charles Milliard? I mean, he hasn't been out there with a lot of policies.
No, that's the thing. It's the first time in my life that I saw a candidate doing two leadership races without putting one single strong ideas forward. It's very unusual. Normally we saw the CAQ, candidates were coming out daily with new ideas and promoting ideas and wedging on different issues. He did nothing. Like we can't associate one single idea to Charles Milliard right now, and that's very surprising. But he's going to have to do it one day, and I think as soon as he's going to do it, he's going to lose support because he's going to please people, but he's going to also piss off a few others.
So I don't want to let you off the hook here before I have to let you go, and I want to take a look at your party, and I know that you're trying to get disgruntled CAQists, right? Those that maybe wanted to vote for Bernard Drainville to join your fray, maybe MNAs. When it comes down to it, I feel you've had a lot of difficulty sealing the deal and getting these people in high-profile names, maybe, more moderate names, to join your party. What do you say to that?
Well, first off, I say that 3 weeks ago, we welcomed a former CAQ minister, Maïté Blanchette-Vizina, who's now a conservative MNA. For us, it's a huge breakthrough. Secondly, I'm telling you that currently we're talking with a lot of organizers of Bernard Drainville, and a few of them are going to switch in the very near future. And, 42% of the people in the CAQ voted for Drainville. And as you know, he stole a lot of our ideas. He did campaign on conservative values and ideas. And I think those people are very disappointed right now with Fréchette's arrival. And those are potential voters. Those are the people that I'm going after right now.
Do you have a potential balancing act problem coming up? Like if you invite a lot of very hardline nationalist CAQists to come into your party, will they not try and impose visions on language? You've been pretty, it's unbelievable, your position on Bill 96, for instance, very pro-business, and the Anglophone community's in favor of that. Would that force your party to go more down a path of language hawk and what's perceived as anti-Anglo?
First off, we're not going to backtrack on that. It's a matter of principle, of individual freedom, of freedom of choice, and that's non-negotiable. That being said, we are an autonomous party. Like many other provinces, many other governments outside of Quebec in different provinces, we do believe that the federal government currently is not doing its job, is intervening way too much in provincial jurisdiction. And actually, I call it toxic, because I think that what they're doing is they're feeding the separatist flame. And we see it even in Alberta right now. So this needs to stop. So I think that the CAQ people like it. The fact that, we're autonomous, that we do believe that provincial rights should be respected according to our constitution. That's what the Conservatives are going to fight for. And we have allies in English Canada. I think that what the Conservatives bring that the other parties and the CAQ did not bring is that we have links with other Conservatives across Canada. I'm going to a tour actually in the rest of Canada after publishing a book next week on the autonomy. And I want to meet a few premiers and leader of conservative parties across the country, because we need to build that. The CAQ didn't do that. And it's not like the fact that English against French or Quebec against Canada. It's all those of us who do believe that the Canadian Constitution should be respected vis-a-vis the Liberals who strive always to intervene in jurisdiction who don't matter their own business.
Mr. Duhaime, Eric, I got to leave it there. Thanks for coming on.
I'm Luke Wilson. Join me each week for Film Never Lies. Since retiring from the NFL, I've had a lot on my mind, and now I've got my own show. So if you're tired of lazy takes, if you want honest conversations, join us each week. Film Never Lies, available on all TSN platforms and the iHeartRadio app.